from the Dukascopy TV studio in Geneva. We're talking about content marketing with Christoph Hess. He's digital strategist from Kuble in Zurich. Christoph, welcome to the studio.
Many thanks for the invite.
So content marketing is about relevant and valuable content. So actually, why is social media an important additional instrument for content marketing?
Well, I think you mentioned relevance and value, and we need to start understanding relevance and value from our audience's perspective. And that's where social media, social networks provide us data which we didn't have a couple of years ago when we mostly relied on surveys. And if people feel surveyed, they don't tell you all their opinions and problems and questions and needs and interests. And that's what they're doing today with their Instagram photos, with their tweets, on their blogs. They tell you quite a lot without feeling surveyed, and that's the data which we can use. And that's the data which helps us to make smarter decisions about our content.
Mm-hmm. So the first step then for content marketing is to monitor, to really know what to talk about. So what are strategic steps, operational steps for content marketing then?
Yes, so I just described that the data is available, but just because it's available doesn't mean yet that we can those smart decisions which I mentioned. So first we need to collect data, we need to have a setup with tools which monitor and analyze the data which is available. And secondly, I think it's important to realize that more data doesn't necessarily mean that we understand more or more data isn't better. It's actually the data without being interpreted. It tells us what's happening, but not why it's happening. So the interpretation part is crucial, because just after the interpretation, we learned what the data actually tells us, and we can make better decisions about our content.
Mm-hmm. So, and data-driven content marketing. So what is this now all about? What includes this package?
So it basically combines what we just discussed based on data. It helps us to take the data in order to make those decisions about our content, which can range from questions like which color should my read more button on my blog have, to questions like which pictures should I use in my Facebook posts. So almost every question can be answered with data from the social web.
Mm-hmm. And how do you particularly install this? Do you ask into the audience, or do you just try and have then trial and error? How does it work?
Well, I just mentioned those tools, tools such as we're using Brandwatch, and there are alternatives like Talkwalker, Engager, Susomos. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and you need such tools which crawl the internet through different networks and platforms for certain keywords which you use, or they analyze specific Twitter profiles, Twitter, Facebook pages, blogs, and so forth. So you need those tools, and you need to set up those tools, and they will help you to make that first step, which I mentioned. But the second, more crucial step, the interpretation, that's still very much up to us as human beings.
And so finally, you really need to focus then on a specific target group. So that is important at the beginning. Is that a best practice you have to do?
Well, very often, if we understand target groups in a conventional way, I think that might be the wrong approach, because very often, if we shouldn't have assumptions before we actually consult the data. So probably the data will show us target group which we didn't expect before, or overlapping interests and needs and questions of people which we, based on our conventional thinking about target group, which we wouldn't have found without the data.
So I just mentioned best practices. So can you give examples when advantages have been really put into good practice of data-driven content marketing?
Well, I think generally an advantage with data is that it makes us more effective, more efficient when it comes to our goals or return on investment. And if you mention best practices, if you Google best practices content marketing, you will find examples from Coca-Cola or Red Bull or General Electric. So huge companies, which, especially from a Swiss SME perspective, people might think, well, I'm a small Swiss company, I can't compete, or how should I do what those Coca-Colas, Red Bulls, and others are doing? And I think what's important isn't necessarily budget or whether you're global or local or national, but it's the attitude that when it comes to content and when it comes to data, actually every company, no matter in which industry you are active, whether you're producing shoes or you're a restaurant, you should start thinking like a media company. And because all the tools are available and the data is available. And so I think that makes the difference, this attitude and not so much the budget.
So to ask it in a nutshell, so why should small companies use data-driven content marketing?
I think small companies are especially challenged when it comes to their resources, to time and money and people. And so for them it's crucial to be efficient and effective in what they're doing. And that's where data and content which is data-driven, so content which is based on findings, based on data, is exactly what they need in order to be more efficient, more effective when it comes to achieving their goals.
Thank you, Christoph Hess from Kuble in Zurich, for being here today.
Thank you for the invite.
And thanks for watching. Do make sure to keep clicking back on the Dukascopy TV website for latest updates and exclusive interviews. Have a great day and see you next time.